Hello, I'm Josiah David, aka I2I35, and welcome to another episode of the Correcting SolRosenberg84 series, and this one is titled, What Would Be Lost? He's talking about, what would happen if religion was lost. Well, basically, this is the classical thing that atheists try to do. They always try to mean the gospel, and then use all excuses like Islam and stuff, and superimpose that on those kind of supposed reasons why they would like it to be gone, that I cannot imagine anything stuck with more flawed logic than that. And I don't want anyone to think, oh, I'm the evil creationist, or I'm destroying science and reason, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to bring people back to true science and reason. And I don't want anyone to think, oh, you're not allowed to correct these videos. Look, I already made it clear to you that I am for truth and against error, and if there's something erroneous that Mike is saying, I'm going to correct it, whether you like it or not. And this is what he has to say about it. And nothing says quite like responding to someone who is like 200 years behind in their science that try to stress some pseudoscientific theory that, life can come from non-living material. Louis Pasteur, the creation scientist, already proved to us that that is not a scientific attitude or idea, whatever. It totally violates the laws of science. But anyway, this is what Mike has to say about this.
Just a big question I've always wanted to ask them is, what are you defending?
I'm trying to defend science, reason, reality, evidence, and the Bible.
If tomorrow everyone in North America woke up and we were all organic atheists, meaning someone who came to the realization that, hey, there probably isn't a God.
We would all become denialists, and what you mean a lot by, if only one came to realize, basically, the only logical place where you come to realize is that there's an intelligent designer behind the universe, and the fingerprint of this intelligent designer happens to be the Lord God Jesus Christ. Upon research, upon deciphering, upon finding things out for oneself, Lee Strobel said he just took for granted what he had been taught in a classroom. But he said that once he went out and decided to observe the evidence for himself, he came to believe in God. He came to Christ. And this is kind of like one of many examples why people should be responsible and not just take for granted what they've been told about, the existence of God or their origins in a school, especially actually search it out for themselves, and they can find the total opposite to be true. That's the kind of people God has created us to be, not to, He's created us to learn. But basically, Satan knows that people are born to learn, and he would do anything he can to confuse us like that.
Through reasoning and not through dogmatic assertion by government.
Dogmatic assertion by government. Very funny. I'm a person who is trying to reason as well. And you're trying to say, if everyone in North America became an atheist, basically that would not be consistent with the truth denomination of what has been researched and studied. If everyone in the world became a Muslim, that would not make it right. If everyone became a Catholic, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, atheist, or Shintoist, that would not make it right. Because the exact, anyone raised like that, the first thing they think is like, wow, that sounds good. Well, that does not make it right. Really ought to diligently search it out for yourself.
There'd be riots in the streets, destruction, mayhem, cruelty. No, there wouldn't be. As anyone who knows anything about statistics around the world can tell you that
basically, if everyone in the world became an atheist, one would give the idea, oh, maybe we should all love each other. If you said that, Mike, someone would go, poof. Actually, I have different rules. Everyone is going to stick to their own rules. Everyone is going to become their god of their own universe. There would be no absolute moral standard to determine right and wrong. It would be dangerous. And what you also try to say,
linked to positive society, to have the highest levels of organic atheism, are also some of the better rated societies on the HDMI on Earth.
Does the name China or North Korea mean anything to you? Atheism leads to madness. It is based on conflicting reports. People will have their own wishful thinking. This is a video of wishful thinking. And atheist countries would go so far as to say, oh, we created the world, we make the rules, which is exactly what communist China and North Korea are trying to do. It's just way beyond craziness, confusion, indoctrination, brainwashing, and madness.
What are you defending?
I'm defending truth.
What
with a big T.
Amazing thing are you defending except your own ego?
That is a very big presupposition. I'm going to have to say, look who's talking. Look who's defending their own worldview with their own ego. I'm not trying to be egotistical. I don't call people names, I make arguments. And I don't present my arguments without data.
Is without religion, we would have one less reason to fight with each other.
I couldn't agree with you more. It actually does separate us.
I'm not saying human beings would become loving flower children at the loss of religion. We wouldn't. We'd still be angry little chimps.
We are not chimps. We are in no way related to animals. We are people created in the image of God to have a soul, speak, and have a conscience of right and wrong. Animals do not have that. Well, they don't speak. They might give us a lesson of what we're supposed to be. The Bible tells us to look at animals and like how they act, ants are responsible. They gather their food in the winter and stuff like that. Many examples in the Bible.
Who like to fight about anything and anything. Everything and anything. I mean, a good example of this is fanboys.
The Bible made it clear to us that the basic reason why there are wars in the world is because of people's lusts. I agree that religion is a big item that has been used throughout history for a lot of wars. But in no way is the gospel of Christ like that. The gospel of Christ is total opposite to religion.
Prove to me that no matter what you can find to fight about, people will find it and they will fight about it. It just kind of blows me away. But at the same time, religion is a little bit different because it's exceptionally divisive.
I agree with you 150%, but Jesus did not come to be divisive. He came to reconcile us to himself, and he wanted us to be reconciled to each other. I agree that religion separates us a lot, and I want it as gone as much as anybody else, but the gospel of Christ, from a normal, born-again Christian, blood-bought born-again Christian worldview, it is basically a truth denomination by reason, science, evidence, reality, and the Bible.
And your ego will do terrible things to protect its worldview.
Again, look who is talking.
The ego fights and fights and fights and fights and fights because it doesn't want to deal with reality.
Basically, I do want to deal with reality, and the reality is, God does exist, things are so complex, and there are miracles happening in so many people's lives.
What would be lost if religion disappeared? Drop the Quran, the Bible, and pretty much any other holy book out there and replaced it with a textbook.
Textbooks are not reliable these days. They're filled with lies, they're filled with propaganda. Evolutionism is a religion itself. Because, as I said before, religion or a cult is something that contemplates things without proof or evidence.
You drop the Quran, the Bible, and pretty much what happened if everyone who was an atheist became religious, fundamentalist religious?
That would be a nightmare.
I'll give you a hint. If history is to give us any example of what would happen, it would not be a just society. It would not be a happy society. It would be a cruel and backwards Bronze Age society.
There was never a Bronze Age.
It would not be a beacon of light for the world. It would be...
He just cussed right there. I just bleeped that out. But I agree with you. If religion took over the world, it would become a nightmare. But the gospel of Christ, as written in the Bible, is a thing that transforms nations and wants people to get reconciled to each other. The Bible supports science and reason. It is not superstitious. It fits with reality. No other religious book fits with reality. So that's all I have to say for this video. Peace out, keep thinking, Jesus bless you, and TTFN, ta-ta for now.